Hello and welcome to this session in which we would look at understanding stock valuation. What is a stock valuation? What does that word mean? It means when you assign a price to a stock. So how do you determine what's the stock price? And that's not an easy thing to do. Basically, you are telling me this stock should be worth this much. How did you come up with that? This is what stock valuation is, assigning a price. Specifically, we will be focusing on stocks that are considered zero growth stocks. Now, why do we start with this? Because it's the foundation to understand other type of stocks. But starting with zero growth is a good starting point, important starting point. So when it comes to value and investments, stocks can be a bit of a puzzle. Why? Because let's compare stocks to something we valued earlier, bonds. What's the difference between stocks and bonds? If you remember, when we talked about bonds, we said that bonds comes with a face value. So at the end of the life of the bond, which could be 3 years, 5 years, 20, 30 years, it does not matter. The bond will have a life. That's one thing. You know what the life is. There's an expiration date. And bonds comes with certain payments. It could be annually, it could be semi-annually. So a bond is two pieces, the face value of it and form of payment. And if you remember, we treated bond as discounting the face value and discounting the payments. Now, stocks, the difference between bonds and stocks, they don't come with a fixed payment. Now, in this example, we will assume it's going to be a fixed payment to kind of set the ground. But definitely, stocks don't have a clear expiration date. They don't have a maturity date. So the problem with stocks is you have an investment that will never mature. How are you going to value that investment? Also, combine that with the challenge of determining what is the required rate of return. So when you value the stock, you have to determine, I want to earn an X percentage on that stock. What's that X percentage? How do you know? How do you know to assign, I want to earn 15%, I want to earn 17%, I want to earn 20%, I want to earn 5%? How do you determine this? For a bond, it's easier because the bond is influenced mainly by the ongoing interest rate. Stocks, they're influenced by many other things, like what? The industry, the growth, your own opinion about the company, management, so on and so forth. So determining that required rate of return is more challenging, especially in the real world. Now, for our purposes, that will be giving all the time, giving a required rate of return of such and such, find the stock valuation. So that's why stock valuation becomes tricky. So in this video, I'm going to start with the simplest scenario of valuing stock, and that's zero growth dividend or constant dividend stocks that pay the same amount of dividend. Now, why are we doing so? To simulate the same thing that we did for bonds when we have those coupon payment. Now, the problem is there's no maturity date for stocks. So what do? You will see what we're going to do with this. But think of this module as a training wheels for stock valuation. This is like valuation 101. Because we're going to have to dive more into complex cases like constant growth and variable growth. Now, having said so, in the real world, companies do pay dividend, which is great. If we have dividend, we can work with dividend. How about that? How do we value companies that don't pay dividend? That's a different valuation. Well, you would say we'll value them based on earnings. How about if the company don't have any earning? They're incurring a loss. We still have to give them a price. So what I'm trying to say is this is the basics. But once you know the basics, you can build on the basics to learn about those more advanced topics. So if you're thinking about, okay, how about if the company don't pay dividend? Don't worry, we'll discuss that later on. Step by step, we're going to start with the basic idea of how to value a stock. But you're not only valuing a stock, you are valuing an investment. A stock at the end of the day is a financial instrument. Same thing as you value a rental property. When you have a rental property, it pays you rental income. That's your dividend. If you rent your car, they make payment to you. That's rental income. So rental income is the dividend. So it doesn't matter what financial instrument you are using a valuation model. And this is the idea I want you to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com.
Farhat Accounting Lectures is a supplemental educational tool that's going to help you with your CPA exam preparation as well as your accounting courses. My CPA material is aligned with your CPA review course such as Becker, Roger, Wiley, Gleam, Miles. My accounting courses are aligned with your accounting courses broken down by chapter and topics. My resources consist of lectures, multiple choice questions, true-false questions, as well as exercises. Go ahead, start your free trial today.
Dive a little bit more deeper into this. So let's review one more time why stock valuation is more challenging than bonds. Bonds are straightforward. They promise regular payment called coupon payment, and they promise to pay you the face value, for example, in this example, 100,000. So everything is laid out. The amount of money you're going to be getting, the timing, the interest rate. So giving all this information, we can find the present value of the bond and find the price of the bond. Stocks don't follow the same script. Why? The first thing is there's no guaranteed cash flow. So bonds pay fixed interest because that's in the contract. They promise you this. When you buy the bond, you are lending them money and they need to pay you a certain amount of money back in form of interest. It's fixed payment. Stocks, they don't make such a promise. And dividend are optional. Even if the company makes a profit, if the board of directors decide not to pay dividend, you have no dividend. So that's one problem with valuing stocks. Two, I just mentioned it, stocks would have unlimited investment life. Stocks don't expire. Stocks don't have a maturity date. Well, unless the company dissolves, but in theory, company lives forever, and when we do accounting, we make that assumption. Also, there's unpredictability in the market return. So when you decide what's my required rate of return for a stock, you don't know what it is. And different analysts, different people will disagree on what should be the market rate of return. How much should we assign a percentage? So when someone make an investment in a company, what should be the rate of return? In bonds, it's a little bit easier because it goes with the ongoing interest rate. For stocks, there are many factors and people disagree. Industry trend, you take economic condition, company's competitive position, all play a role in what should be the interest rate or the required rate of return on your investment. And that's why stocks go up and down, because people disagree. When stock price goes up, people like the company. Why? Because now it's the trend. For example, artificial intelligence now is the trend. So everybody is buying stocks that are artificial intelligence. So, but some people, at what grade they are growing? Some people thinks it's 40% growth rate every year. Some people think it's 200%. Some people think it's 10%. Some people thinks we missed the boat. We should not have any growth in AI. All the growth already occurred. So because of those disagreement, the required rate of return is not as easy. Now, despite all these challenging, stock valuation in quote simple. Why? Because at the end of the day, when you make an investment, think about any investment you make in your life. Now you are learning. You might be either an accounting student, a finance student, or studying for a certification. Why are you doing so? You are investing money now for future return, right? That's why whatever you are doing right now, you are learning. You are learning to be paid in the future. So if you want to value yourself, you have to look at estimated future cash flows. It doesn't matter what investment you have. At the end of the day, you look at the future cash flows. That's all what matters when you invest in a company. Why would you invest in a company? Because you believe you will be getting future cash flows in the future. So to figure out how much is the investment worth today, all what we do is we discount it, find the present value, and we should be all familiar with the present value. If not, go to my present value lectures to learn about the present value. You discount the present value. But this applies to you as a person. You are making an investment now in yourself. You are investing in your education. You're investing in your certification. Well, what's my return? Well, think about all your future cash flows, discount them to the present. Therefore, listen to me and listen to me carefully. This is the most important statement here. For stocks, this means when you want to value a stock, you would focus on the dividend of the stock. It means what the stock would give you back and the potential sale price down the road. So when you invest in a stock, here's what you look at. In theory, you would say this stock will pay me dividend every year. And at the end of its life, I am going to get a certain amount of money when I sell it. So what you do is you discount those things. You discount the selling price, you discount the dividend, and this is how you determine your price today. How do you discount it? Based on your required rate of return. What's your required rate of return? How much you think you should earn on this investment. The best way to illustrate this is to start with a simple example, then build on it. But I want you to keep this picture in mind. This statement is extremely important. So when you value a stock, you discount the dividend. Think of the dividend, and that's why I put the bonds picture here. Think of the dividend as those coupon payment, okay? The dividend are not think of them, they are payments. Now, the payments could vary. We're going to assume they're going to stay the same. Therefore, you can think of them as coupon payment for this lesson. And the potential sale price, think of the potential sales price as the face value, what you get at the end, and you discount it. Think of it this way. It's okay, perfectly fine. Now, let's work an example illustrating what I just said to show you this in numbers and build on it. So let's assume you purchase 1 share of preferred stock or any stock. The reason I said preferred, to make the example realistic for the real world. For the real world, preferred stock, and we talked about preferred stock, pay you a fixed amount. They work like bonds. They pay you a certain amount of money. So let's assume you expect to receive $6 over the next year. So this preferred dividend pays $6 per year. And you anticipate to sell it for $90 1 year from now. So let me take a look. Let me look at this picture for you. So here's what's going to happen. You have this stock that will pay you $6 dividend per year, and you can sell it 1 year. This is 0 is today. 1 year from now, 1 is year, and you can sell it for $90. So the question is, how much will you pay for this stock today? Well, to determine how much you pay for this stock today, I want to know how much you want to earn on your investment. And for the sake of this illustration, I want to earn 12%. How much will you pay for this stock? If you want to earn 12%, how much you'll pay for this stock? Well, let me tell you how much you'll pay for this stock. How much you pay for this stock is the present value of this amount at 12%, the present value of this amount at 12%. So what does that mean? It means I am going to discount the $6 at 1 plus 0.12 raised to the third power, right? You know this from time value of money, plus I'm going to discount the $90 at 1 plus 0.12 at the first power because we're dealing with 1 year. Now, can I combine those two? Yes, it's basically $96, which is, let's keep it separate. Let's not say 96. 6 plus 90 divided by, because they both have the same denominator, 1.12 raised to the third power. So this is exactly what I did. Therefore, to find the price today, this is the formula. This is the formula. The price today is the discount of the dividend at the required rate of return, which is the $6, plus the discount of the price giving the required rate of return, given the time period, and we said 1 year. Well, if we do that, let's go ahead and do the computation. Again, here when we say D1, let's start to D script 1. It means the dividend, the expected dividend, which is the dividend 1 year from now. The P1, P subscript 1 is the price, expected selling price 1 year from now, and R is the required rate of return. Therefore, if we perform this computation, let's go ahead and perform this computation to determine the stock price, because you want to know how much that stock price would be, because to know how much it would be, you'd have to perform the computation. Let's go ahead and divide basically $96 divided by 1.12, and that's going to give us, you'll pay for this stock $85.71. So this is the stock price. In other words, if you pay for the stock price $85.71, a year from now you would have earned 12%. Is this really true? Well, let me show you. So if you invested the $85.71 multiplied by 1.12, remember we're earning 12%, guess what? You will get $96. Remember the time value of money. I made an investment today. This is my present value, and my future value is 96. This is the present value, future value thing. If I take my investment today, we said it's $85.71 based on the formula, and I want to earn 12%, I will get $96. Same thing as if you took this money, put it in the bank account, earning 12%. This is exactly what you did. So let's dive a little bit deeper into using this formula into valuing stocks, because here we kept it simple. Here we kept it's 1 year from today. We kept it simple. In other words, we treated it like exactly like a bond. We treated it with a coupon payment and an expiration date of $90. But is this really true? Well, we're gonna start from here and tell you what's going to happen. So P0, to find the price today, P0, you have a stock a year from today. You will take the future dividend a year from now plus the price a year from now divided 1 plus R. I just showed you this formula and I showed you how to do it. Now you can break it down. You could say, okay, let's keep it separate. Dividend, if I discount the dividend, if I discount the price, which is the same thing as this formula, I'll find the price today, P0. Now, how about if I want to keep this 2 years? If I want to keep this investment for 2 years, what do I have to do? Well, let's think about it for a moment. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. The price of a share of stock with a constant dividend, which is zero growth, can be computed using what? Constant dividend. Not constant growth, constant dividend. Is it growing annuity formula? Well, constant versus growing. You should not select this one. Constant growth of dividend formula. There's no, again, growth. We have growth here. This is zero growth. Should not be. Out. Perpetuity present value formula. Yes. If it's a zero growth, it's used the perpetuity formula, which is the price of zero equal to the dividend divided by the rate of return. Dividend payout formula? No, dividend payout formula is how much the company pays out in dividend. That's totally separate. For example, if the company makes $100, they pay $30, so the dividend payout is 30%. Well, obviously the remaining will stay in retained earnings. It's called retained earnings. Therefore, the answer to this question is C, the perpetuity present value formula. What should you do? Now go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional MCQs, resources that will help you, whether you are a finance, accounting, studying for any sort of a professional certification, CPA, CMA, CFA. Invest in yourself. That's the best investment you can make, and stay safe.